You're listening to the Ontos Podcast, where we explore the nature of stories in the pursuit of being and truth. I'm Maq.
And I'm Vaud.
And our sentience depends on you. Now cue the intro music. Big cliffhanger in chapter 14.
Chapter 15.
So here
Chapter
comes 15.
15. Okay, so our last episode, very short. This one, probably just as short, but we get one of the biggest reveals here, in my opinion. Something that I've been holding on to up to this point for so long. We open up with Dockson chewing into Kelsier. Why did you do this? Why did you take her? Everyone's in a panic. Kelsier is torn like to shreds, right? Like he's better off than Vin is with the large wound in her side when we last saw her.
But he survived.
He did. He survived. His arms are torn up. They said his body was covered in scratches and just cut up everywhere from what I can only assume was the Steel Inquisitor throwing some of those like spiked pyramid things at him and him getting hit by them. He had massive wounds where I can again assume that he got caught maybe by the axe or the blade or whatever's happening there. But Dockson's laying into him. Why would you do that? Why would you take Vin? Kelsier, you are stupid, and this was stupid for you. You know, he's lean. Like, up to this point, we've not seen someone talk to Kelsier like this and survive.
And I can't blame him. You know, I just can't. I mean, look at what they walked into, but...
Yeah, it was terrible. You know, Kelsier does his best to explain, listen, like, I tried my best. I was distracting two of them at once while Vin was running, but one of them pulled off and started chasing. They sent two after her. It's like they didn't care about me. They cared about her for whatever reason. They were pulled towards her. And I don't know what to think about that, right? Like, isn't Kelsier the survivor? Isn't he the big problem here? He's the one everyone knows, at least. He's the pain. He's the one who knows where the ATM is. Why the heck did they send two after Vin and only one after Kelsier? I don't know, but Kelsier gets away. He said he tries to push forward. I did my best. I tried to keep them away, but they didn't seem interested in me. And you know, we talked about how Kelsier mentions one of these things are a threat. The fact that he tried so hard to keep two on him, I think says a lot. He cares about his crew, and he still couldn't do anything in this sense. He just said, I hoped that, you know, I bought her enough time that she got away. And everyone looks solemn because they're all looking at how Kelsier looked with years of training facing one, and they went, yeah, there's no way that Vin's alive. There's just no way. And Kelsier puts together like he sees it as hopeless, but you know, it's one of those things where instead of letting everyone sulk, he puts together like this hopeless like search squad. Like, you know, y'all go back to the manor, y'all go to clubs to shop, you know, me and Ham are going to get as close to Creedic Shaw as we can, and we're going to look for her. And even in his head, you know, everyone starts working immediately, but even in his head he goes, they all probably know the same thing I know, which is we're not going to find her before the Steel Inquisitors if she even got away. It's just not going to happen. And so yeah, Kelsier, right as he says this, one of Clubs' apprentices comes running in. Is it Master Boris at this point?
I think it's Listabornis.
Yeah, he comes in and he's just like, there's a cloaked figure coming right now. And Kelsier, and they all start getting ready to fight. And Kelsier's like, all right, I doomed us all. You know, here comes the Steel Inquisitor. Everything's over. We're all screwed. It's all my fault. And then Sazed comes in, carrying Vin. Wait. Sazed comes in carrying Vin. Sazed saved Vin from a Steel Inquisitor.
Sazed was the guy that she recognized.
And he brings her in, you know, immediately tells them, get her pewter. I think she's out of it. They give her pewter and a little bit of color returns to her. And Kelsier's like, okay, if anyone can save her, it's Sazed. Because Sazed, the keepers, do not only keep religion, they keep science in their metal minds. They can remember medicine. And Sazed gets his bag and immediately starts surgery.
And he does whatever he can for her. And then they're like, why, by the way, what else do you have? And
Yeah,
he has the book.
he has his book that he found. I don't know if it's the same book. Vin threw the book that was covered in the spikes and everything. She threw it and she never got it back. But he says when he was looking for her in the palace, he found another book, and that's what he brought back. And so we don't know. He says it's in a language that I probably can translate, but I don't know, and definitely not today. I'm tired. And he mentions something really important here. He goes, I had to expend a full metal mind to get there in time, and I still was too slow. So again, what the heck is Sazed?
Sazed's something's going on. Something more is happening, clearly, with Sazed than we know.
But yeah, we're left at the end of the chapter with Sazed having completed the surgery, having gone upstairs to go to sleep after saying, I have no idea whether she's going to survive through the night. And Doxson goes, well, Kelsier, is this worth it? And he goes, well, ask me if Vin survives. And that's the end of part 2.
So, I mean, these last 2 chapters were just a whirlwind of things.
I wish there was more to kind of discuss summary-wise, but there just isn't. They were just incredibly cool action sequences.
Well, in this case, it was just kind of building up to, here was the conclusion of what all the plans that we did. We got to see how devastating the Steel Inquisitors were. We got to see how effective Pewter can be at keeping someone alive, and we got to see Sazed do something.
Because
something had to happen to that Steel Inquisitor.
Exactly. What I talked about last episode. The Steel Inquisitor wasn't just staring at Sazed as he picked Vin up. We heard like this cracking that sounded like branches breaking. What did Sazed do to a Steel Inquisitor? Like, we saw Kelsier and Vin just get utterly dominated and just destroyed by these guys. And somehow Sazed comes out of the blue, and we don't see what happens. But he did something. He did enough to the Steel Inquisitor that he was not followed.
And that was the thing, is like he's confident he wasn't followed, and Kelsier didn't even think, oh, could he have been followed?
All the clues are lining up now. Again, what is Sazed? What are the keepers? Is this why the Lord Ruler is scared of them? Because he's, again, we can't see what happened, but based on our inferences and based on what, information we're given, he handled a Steel Inquisitor. That does not necessarily mean they're dead, but he handled the situation.
But not just that. I mean, Vin and Kelsier had to use Allomancy to go super fast, on the Allomantic road to get over there. And he did it in a fraction of that time, or he had to, because unless he was right behind them the whole time.
Yeah, and up at this point, I don't know if they straight up said it necessarily. If they did, I'm not remembering at this point, but they have strongly, inferred, or at least talked that Sazed's not an Allomancer.
Right. I mean, as far as we know. I mean, and
so it's not like he was still pushing behind her,
Right. And so there's we get left with a pretty effective cliffhanger, and we also get to find out that Kelsier somehow survived despite being taken by the throat of a Steel Inquisitor. So that's also kind of like, how did he do that? Because, I mean, we see how big, fast, and strong these guys are. And yes, he was saying, oh, he's distracting. Oh, he was doing this. He was doing that. But, and he wasn't trying to kill them necessarily, but he was still able to get away. I mean, it seemed like Vin, even if she hadn't been stabbed, had no chance of ever escaping. He was, the Steel Inquisitor was completely on top of her, was able to find her no matter what, and was outpacing her in strength and speed. And Kelsier's, we just see he's here, he was there, he got back, and we're still left with who are these people? I mean, again, we got to see the not only how brutal Steel Inquisitors can be, but yes, they were messing with Vin, but they were definitely trying to keep an eye on her, and she still just couldn't get away. Kelsier was able to. Sazed, did something and was able to get away from a Steel Inquisitor while carrying Vin. So something's going on there too. And we get left with, a huge cliffhanger over, Vin's going to have to hopefully be able to pull things through. And Sazed also knows medicine.
Yeah, I mean, like he mentioned, Kelsier says the keepers keep more than just religions in their memory, essentially. So I think this is really cool. And while this was a relatively quick week of episodes and discussion. It is amazing to see what we're going to be looking at next week when we go into part 3.
Hey guys, it's Matt. Thanks for listening to the Altos Podcast. You'll start seeing regularly scheduled episodes starting November 14, 2022. If you'd like to follow us, please consider subscribing. We're a small project, so please support us with likes and comments because that's what the algorithms crave. If you're listening to the YouTube channel, please hit the notification bell. And if you really want to give us a boost, consider supporting us on Patreon so we can give Vaud a better mic.